are going to look at the 655 ET trim. Remember, this product does cause cancer in California. So we had two of them. Two problems. First problem is if we look at them, this peg or shaft or tailpiece is obviously not as long as that one. So we have a broken tailpiece. Now you can sometimes solve broken tailpieces just by ordering replacement tailpieces. So that is this bad boy right here, and it is sunk down in there. However, there were more problems than just a broken tailpiece. There's three things that can go wrong with these things. This is just the same thing I told the customer. Tailpiece can break. Most common thing, most often it's because it's not aligned. If we look at this one, we can see it is angled a little bit. That meant that it was in the door, the tailpiece was angled just a bit. That will cause it to break prematurely. If we look at the other one, we can see this rigged up part. Now on the back side of this, this plate will come off, in fact, and also this plate is coming off as well. And that is probably because whoever did this little work of magic took this plate off to do this. So we'll take this plate off again to see if there's really any fix for this. And I mean, it is an enterprising solution. It worked. This had gotten loose though, and he had a nut holding the panic bar on. You know, it worked okay, but it was not great by any means, and it obviously loosened up far too quickly. So the next logical step to, thinking about ways to repair this little issue if this happens would be to professionally take this off. Let's get this nut off and just look at what broke. It's not exactly a part that you can get or stock or have with you at any given time, of course, because it's all factory stuff. It's definitely a unique cutout, and it's definitely put down and then punched like that. So you could find, for instance, I have no. Come back. Well, that's just not good. Here it is. This is off of a lever handle, and this is pretty much the only one I have a bunch of anyway. That appears to be like 1/4 by 20 or even 5/16. And you think, you could just put your own in here, but it's going to be too big for you to tap and drill. There won't be any supporting metal right there. Plus, it would be way too long. You'd have to cut it down. That would be a messy fix to do. I mean, you could rig it up, but this is on a heavy used door. So whatever you rig up, like this person did, may or may not last for any length of time. And as we can see here, there's our tailpiece that is still the right size, but look at that heavy wear on the hub. And that is the main non-fixable problem. Here, this is why they have to be replaced and not reused, because there's nothing you can do to rectify this just wear on the hub. Once metal starts wearing, it's going to wear. There's nothing that you can do to stop it. So that was causing it to be kind of catchy. And that part intersects down here and turns. So we had it on the door like that. Oh, it's in the locked position. So we're going to turn the key. There we go. And if we hold that down and pull this off, we can kind of get a look. It's pressing in right there. It's not really turning anything though. Oh, there's that latch off that Brinks. We'll look at that in a minute. And another thing you might have is, once you get down to this point, we're going to go ahead and keep pulling these parts out because it is worn and we're not going to keep it. Another thing that can happen is this metal will definitely wear, because when you turn it with the key, get in there, see that turns? Can you see that? Yes, you can see that. See how it turns on the inside? We're gonna go ahead and keep dropping these parts out to see how it intersects together. That's where the tailpiece for the cylinder does the turning. And what happens is it's basically a V and a V, if we see it right there. Boom, see how that does when you do this? It pushes it forward and out, which engages your tailpiece and your cylinder and all that. Once it's in the out position, stick that in there. It pushes it out and allows this to turn, which in turn pulls the latch back. When you suck it back in, it is not engaging it anymore in this area right there. So that's one other thing that can happen, is these two pieces can, I don't know if that piece will, I don't know if that part will come out, but this obviously will catch a lot of wear. It hadn't worn too bad on this one, but we obviously have just really heavy wear in this hub area. So it is pretty much toast, given the fact of all the problems associated with this particular one. The missing thing, the heavy wear right there, and dude, that's just it. So we're gonna trash this one and then look at the other one, and we're gonna be done with last week's bad hardware. Now this one, again, we see it's probably just a tailpiece. We're going to see if we can't fix this part. See if a replacement tailpiece will work for us for here. I could go get my Nipex to do this, but they're way out in the truck. I'm going to try to at least get one halfway working, because this customer actually did have one more of these that was broken. So we're going to see if it's possible to get these working, one of these at least working well enough to replace the other one that's stripped out on the inside. Probably has the same amount of wear problems as that last one we just threw out. It's just one of those things. Age, can't stop age, and metal fatigue. Now, you know, they sell these tail pieces. They may very well sell all those other parts, but I very well don't have all those other parts. So the only thing we can do is replace or replace the tailpiece, really. This one is kind of rough. It needs to be cleaned up. I mean, it could be utilized. It's got a ding right there. We're going to take it apart and see, though. All right, so here's what you... Hey, that other one was missing the spring, I think. All right, so there's some... Not nearly as bad a wear. Not nearly as bad a wear. And we're going to go ahead and soap to go down all the way to the bottom. If I have a pair of tweezers, let me go grab a pair of tweezers. I'm going to check all the pieces. Here's the part that gets pushed forward when that little angle thing I showed you goes forward. Not too bad. I've seen some of these really, really bad. think we're going to be able to save this one, guys. The rest of it stays in. The rest of it does not come out, even if we take the handle off here. Not really made to come apart. Oh yeah, it is. Huh. I take that back. Suck this end. Okay, so another thing that can happen is there's a spring in here. We're going to go ahead and show you that. That spring can break. That's the lever return spring. Didn't check it on the other one because there were already too many problems with it. But this is one of those things where I don't have that part either. Don't know if it's sold. Might be sold. If anybody knows, go ahead and post it in the comments. But again, we're kind of getting to the point where it may or may not be worth it. Let's just see. Okay, there's one plate. Yeah, let's see if we can dig. I think I've done this, and I think this plate is peened down, I think. Like, peened down as in not made to come apart. So there's a peen right there and there. And yes, it is peened down right there. So they do not want you to really take this apart to do anything with. So we are not going to, you know? Not gonna do it. How did this thing go together? Oh, probably like this. Maybe like this. Definitely like this. Let's see. This is why you lay out your parts correctly, y'all. Oh, there we go. Is that right? Right enough. Oh, okay. So we'll put this back together. Put a new tailpiece in, see if it will be functional enough to use for their other door. Make them happy that they won't have to buy a whole new one. Now, again, going back to heavy use and should you do this or should you not do this, you know, it depends on how comfortable you feel with the repair. If you feel like you've got a good refurbish, then by all means, go for it. Which is what we're doing. Okay, just drop this straight down in there. Drop this right on top of it. I'm gonna go ahead and wipe it off a little bit, get some of that grime off. Need to turn this around so the peg will go into the right spot. Nope, come back. Turn you back around there. Wait, no. How do you fit in here? Okay, like this. It will fall down in its hole once you kind of have it like it's supposed to be. Let's try it this way. That may be the problem. Oh, come back out of there. Come on now, what are you doing? See. It looks like we got a little shatter right here. Let's look at that other one real quick, just in case. This is one of those things that you may miss because you just don't realize that if you have one of them and you take this apart and you don't notice that little shatter in the metal right there, that is what used to be right there. So that has to be there for it to engage, which is one of the reasons why this lock was broken. Again, not a replaceable part, but we can replace it with this one. So we can go ahead and switch it out. I'm glad I caught that, because that goes down in that channel like so, and is what's responsible for helping it turn. So maybe out of two, we'll be able to rebuild into one. This would go down in there kind of like that, and cap it with that. Go ahead and hose it down at this point. They just scraped their car. Go ahead and hose it down with lubricant. Got some high spots here. Again, not a big deal. We are definitely not going to sell this as new or anything. Let's go ahead and replace that cam. We could grab that one out of the other one, but I'm just going to grab a new one here because I have them. Oh, forgot to lubricate this part. Let's get some of this factory goo out of the equation as well. This looks to be in fine shape once we get it cleaned up. And the spring, we need the spring here. And go ahead and cap it. Okay. Oh, no. Move, lube. So this is spring loaded and it's pushing down into the hole there. It's kind of got a little springy action to it, and that, remember when you angle and it pushes up, that's where the magic happens. And we're going to check our peened areas. They are a little loose, but it is perfectly okay. That's probably just how they come. And go ahead and put this back together, and we are good to go. I'm going to clean up the outside handle a little bit with some goof off. Never going to be perfect, but at least it'll look a little bit better than it does. Let's look at that outside handle. You know, this one's in far better shape. Oh, it's scratched too. No, it's before we put it all back together. Let's just see. Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and do this, guys, because I want this one to be as good looking as possible. So I'm actually going to re-gut all this and switch it out with this trim. Which is in considerably better shape. Oh, it's got that big ding right there. Oh, is this worth it? It's got a... Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to pause the camera. I'm just going to switch out all that, and I'll be right back. Got it back together. Locked. Unlocked. Spring feels good both ways. And we got it switched out with the little bit nicer trim. And we're gonna hose it down with contact cleaner, get this little bit of paint off, and should be good to go. Make sure everything's snug and Loctite down, and that's it, guys. Good as almost new. Just getting rid of some of those problem parts. All right, so thanks for watching. We are going to move on to the next phase of this week.